Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be going over the Nissan Almera G15 maintenance schedule. We'll be covering everything from regular oil changes and filter replacements to more infrequent tasks like spark plug changes and brake fluid flushes. I'll also be giving you some tips on how to save money on maintenance and keep your Almera running smoothly for years to come. So stick around and let's get started. Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving deep into the Nissan Almera G15 maintenance schedule. We'll be breaking down the essential services you need at different mileage points, along with what parts you might expect to replace, and a rough idea of the costs involved. Remember, these are estimates and prices can vary depending on your location and the specific shop you choose. First up, let's talk about the 15,000 kilometer service. At this point, you're primarily looking at a general checkup. We are talking oil and filter changes, absolutely crucial for keeping your engine running smoothly. You'll also want to check the air filter. A clogged air filter can seriously impact your engine's performance and fuel efficiency. A visual inspection of your brake pads and fluids is also a good idea at this stage. Don't forget to check your tire pressure and tread depth too. For parts, you're mostly looking at oil, a new oil filter, and possibly an air filter depending on its condition. The total cost for this service should be relatively low, maybe in the range of $100 to $200, depending on the price of oil and where you get your service done. Moving on to the 30,000 kilometer service. This one is a bit more involved. In addition to the oil and filter changes we discussed earlier, you'll likely need a coolant flush and replacement. Coolant is vital for preventing overheating, so keeping it fresh is essential. You should also have your spark plugs inspected and potentially replaced, depending on their condition. This is a good time to check your brake fluid and power steering fluid levels and consider a fluid change if needed. The parts cost here will be higher, including coolant, potentially new spark plugs, and any fluids you need to replace. Expect to pay somewhere between $200 and $400 for this service. Next, we hit the 45,000 kilometer mark. This service often mirrors the 30,000 kilometer service, focusing on fluid changes and essential checks. You'll again want to change your oil and filter, check and potentially replace your air filter, and inspect your spark plugs. A coolant flush might be recommended again, depending on your vehicle's history and the condition of the coolant. You'll also want to thoroughly inspect your brakes, checking the pads and rotors for wear and tear. The cost here will be similar to the 30,000 kilometer service, likely between $200 and $400. Finally, let's discuss the 60,000 kilometer service. This is a more comprehensive service, often including more extensive checks and potential replacements. In addition to the usual oil and filter changes, you might need to replace your timing belt, depending on your vehicle's specifications. This is a crucial component, and neglecting it can lead to serious engine damage. You'll also want a thorough inspection of your suspension components, checking for wear and tear on bushings and other parts. This service is the most expensive, potentially costing between $500 and $800 or even more, depending on the need for timing belt replacement and other repairs. Remember to always consult your owner's manual for the most accurate and up-to-date information for your specific Nissan Almera G15. Hey everyone, let's dive into the maintenance schedule for the Nissan Almera G15. We are going to break down what you can expect at the 90,000 kilometer service, then the 120,000 kilometer service, and finally, we'll cover those parts you need to replace based on their lifespan, not just mileage. And of course, we'll talk about the overall cost of keeping your Almera G15 running smoothly. So, at 90,000 kilometers, you're looking at a pretty comprehensive service. We are talking about a full oil and filter change, naturally. This is crucial for engine health, and using the right oil is key. We'll also be inspecting and potentially replacing the air filter. A dirty air filter restricts airflow and can impact performance and fuel economy. The fuel filter is another important component to check at this mileage. A clogged fuel filter can lead to all sorts of problems, from poor engine performance to difficulty starting. We'll also be examining the spark plugs. These are essential for ignition, and worn-out plugs can lead to misfires and reduced engine efficiency. Don't forget the brake fluid. It's vital for safe braking, and it needs to be flushed and replaced periodically to maintain its effectiveness. We'll also be checking the coolant levels and condition, ensuring your engine stays at the optimal temperature. And finally, a thorough inspection of the entire braking system, including brake pads and rotors, is essential at this point. We'll check for wear and tear and advise on any necessary replacements. Now, moving on to the 120,000 kilometer service. Many of the items from the 90,000 kilometer service will be repeated here, ensuring your car remains in top condition. This includes another oil and filter change, air filter inspection or replacement, and a check of the fuel filter. At this higher mileage, we'll also be paying close attention to the timing belt. Replacing the timing belt is a preventative measure, and neglecting it can lead to catastrophic engine damage. It's a significant expense, but far less than a complete engine rebuild. We'll also be checking the condition of the serpentine belt, which drives many of your car's accessories. A worn serpentine belt can cause a range of problems, from power steering failure to alternator issues. And of course, a comprehensive inspection of your suspension components, including shocks and struts, is crucial at this mileage. Wear and tear on these parts can significantly impact your car's handling and ride comfort. We'll also be checking the condition of your drive belts and hoses, looking for any signs of cracking or wear. Beyond scheduled services, there are several components that need replacing based on their lifespan, regardless of mileage. Your car's battery has a limited lifespan, usually around 3 to 5 years, depending on usage and climate. Keep an eye on its performance and consider a replacement before it fails completely. Similarly, your wiper blades should be replaced every 6 to 12 months, depending on usage and weather conditions. Worn wiper blades can significantly reduce visibility, especially in rain or snow. And finally, your cabin air filter should be replaced every 6 to 12 months, depending on your driving environment. A dirty cabin air filter can affect air quality and potentially trigger allergens. Finally, let's talk about the cost. The total cost of ownership for the Nissan Almera G15's scheduled maintenance can vary significantly depending on the specific parts used, labor costs in your region, and any unforeseen repairs. However, you can expect to budget a substantial amount for these services, especially at the 120,000 kilometer mark. It's always a good idea to get multiple quotes from different mechanics to compare prices and ensure you're getting the best value for your money. Remember, preventative maintenance is key to keeping your Almera G15 running smoothly and avoiding costly repairs down the line.